No one understands the allure of eunuchs better than I do. So when the emperor issued a decree for me to marry Pei Yan, my father fainted on the spot, and my mother cried as if the sky had fallen. Yet I almost burst out laughing. After all, the mighty 9,000 years, Pei Yan, though holding immense power, was said to be a eunuch doomed to have no descendants. Marrying him meant I would never truly become a woman in the conventional sense for the rest of my life. But for someone like me, frigid by nature and terrified of childbirth, it was nothing short of a blessing. No need to please a man, no risk of dying in childbirth. What could be better? But all these beautiful thoughts were completely destroyed after I accidentally saw him bathing once. The main daughter of the Shin family, Shin Yunshu, will get married on a chosen day. As soon as the eunuch finished speaking, my father rolled his eyes back and fell straight down stiffly. The hall immediately became a mess. My mother threw herself onto my father and cried so hard as if her heart was breaking. My concubine-born sister Shin Qingqing, while pretending to call father, used eyes full of poison to glare at me. She was jealous that I was the main daughter. Even if I married a eunuch, it was still a marriage given by the emperor, and I would be the proper wife. But she could only become a concubine to an old man who was about to die. But how could she know that inside my heart, I was almost blooming with happiness? When my mother gave birth to my younger brother, she had a difficult birth. Her painful screams that felt like tearing her heart apart are still my nightmare even now. From that time, I swore that in this life, I would never give birth to a child. Now the chance has come. I respectfully received the imperial order. Very soon, it was the wedding day. My father and mother had no happy expressions on their faces. Shin Qingqing stood behind the crowd, her hateful eyes staring hard at my wedding sedan. I did not notice at all. The sedan carried me all the way into the residence of the 9,000 years. I was helped by the wedding woman to step over the fire basin and bow to heaven and earth. Because the groom Pei Yan did not appear from beginning to end, there was no wedding bow, and I was sent into the bridal room. After the wedding woman left, there was only me alone in the room. I happened to feel a little hungry, so I lifted my red veil and walked to the table, picked up a piece of osmanthus cake, and put it into my mouth. Just when I was eating happily, the door made a creaking sound and was pushed open. A man wearing bright red wedding clothes walked in step by step. The candlelight lit up his face. His eyebrows were sharp, his phoenix eyes were long. He looked quite handsome, but his body carried a strong smell of blood, mixed with a cold dragon saliva incense smell. It seemed like he had just killed someone. Thinking of this, my heart suddenly jumped. I quickly stood up and tried hard to show a gentle smile. Husband, Pei Yan did not speak. He just used those deep phoenix eyes to quietly look at me, like he wanted to see through me completely from inside to outside. I felt my scalp go numb from his gaze. I was afraid that this person might have some abnormal habit of abusing his wife. Even though I do not need to have children, if I get beaten every day, life would still not be good. Just when I was thinking wildly, he suddenly reached his hand toward my face. I was so scared that I did not dare to move at all and even closed my eyes, but the next second, I felt a cold finger gently pass over the corner of my mouth. I opened my eyes and saw that he had taken his hand back. On his fingertip was a small white piece of cake crumb. My mind became completely blank. I could not understand his action at all. Pei Yan looked at my stunned face, and the corner of his mouth seemed to rise a little. Afraid of me? I shook my head without thinking, then quickly nodded. How could I not be afraid? The smell of blood on his body had not even gone away yet. Pei Yan seemed to find my reaction very interesting. The look of studying me in his eyes became a little softer. He did not come closer again. Instead, he turned around and sat by the table, asking with interest, "Why were you willing to marry?" Of course, I could not tell him the real reason, so I moved my eyes a little, quickly thought of an idea, lowered my head, and made a shy and wronged expression. The imperial order cannot be disobeyed. With these 4 words, I pushed all responsibility away completely. It both protected the royal family's dignity and showed my helplessness. But Pei Yan gave a soft laugh. The imperial order cannot be disobeyed. The Shin family really raised a good daughter. Forget it, come sit. His presence was too strong. I could not help but stand up and walk toward him. But as soon as I got close, he suddenly pulled me into his arms, making my whole body fall onto his lap. A eunuch is not supposed to be close to women, right? What does he want to do? While I was thinking wildly, his chin rested on the hollow of my neck. His breath fell on my skin, and all the goosebumps on my body rose. This script is wrong. Shouldn't we respect each other and keep distance? Why is he touching me like this right at the start? Is he trying to humiliate me? The more I thought, the more scared I became. My body shook like I was shivering badly. Pei Yan noticed my fear and finally let go of me. He said lightly, "Go rest." I felt like I had been saved. I quickly ran to the bed, almost crawling, and wrapped myself tightly in the blanket. But very soon, I heard his footsteps getting closer behind me. As the edge of the bed sank slightly, a hand reached into my blanket, but it was different from what I thought. That hand did not move around. Instead, it accurately held my ankle and gently rubbed it. Only then did I realize that today I had been walking, bowing, and sitting in the sedan, so my ankle was a bit swollen. He was helping me massage it. I could not believe it. I opened a small gap in the blanket and secretly looked at him. I saw that he lowered his eyes, his expression focused. I have to say, he massaged very skillfully, but I became even more confused. Is this man full of contrast, or is he trying to get me to buy some kind of foot massage service? Before I could figure it out, he had already taken his hand back, stood up cleanly, and left. It seemed that he lay down on the couch outside. The room became quiet again, and as I felt my still warm ankle, I slowly fell asleep without noticing. When I woke up, the couch outside was already empty. A maid wearing light green clothes heard the movement and walked in. "Madam, you are awake. My name is Qinghe. The chief sent me to serve you." I wanted to understand the environment, so I asked Qinghe to take me around. On the way, she introduced the scenery everywhere. I have to say, Pei Yan really knows how to enjoy life. Every place in this residence is arranged very beautifully. briefly. While I was enjoying looking around, a middle-aged man who looked like a steward hurried over. "Madam, someone has come from the palace. They say you and the chief should return to your family home." Only then did I remember that according to rules, on the third day after marriage, the bride must return home. I actually did not want to go back. Thinking of my father's bad face, my mother's tears, and Shin Qingqing's proud expression, I felt a headache. But it is a rule. I cannot avoid it. Where is the chief? The chief is still in the palace. He will go directly to the Shin residence later. He asked you to prepare first. I nodded, returned to my room, and changed into proper clothes, preparing to face a tough situation. As expected, as soon as I returned to the Shin residence, I felt that familiar suffocating atmosphere. When my mother saw me, her eyes immediately turned red. "Eunuch, are you alright?" She held my hand and looked at me carefully from top to bottom. My father sat on the side and snorted coldly, turning his head away. Shin Qingqing wore brand new clothes, dressed beautifully, and walked over. "Little sister is back. Humph. Looking at your good condition, it seems you are living quite well in the chief's residence." Her words were clearly full of jealousy. Before I could speak, my mother became unhappy first. "Qingqing, how can you speak to your sister like this?" "Mother, I am just caring about my sister. After all, the chief has a special identity. Sister might feel lonely and empty alone." She especially stressed the words special identity. My father's face became even darker. I looked at Shin Qingqing's face full of pride. I walked to her and slowly adjusted the flower ornament in her hair. "Sister, was this hair ornament given by Master Wang?" "Master Wang treats sister really well. Not like my husband. He never gives me these small things women like. He only gives me things like 3 courtyard houses and 100 acres of farmland. He even said that women should have their own property, so they can stand straight. Not like those who can only rely on men to give them a few pieces of jewelry to survive. That is too pitiful." Shin Qingqing's face turned green and white. She was so angry she could not speak. My father and mother were also shocked. They clearly did not expect Pei Yan to be so generous to me. I secretly smiled. "Those houses and land deeds were given to me by Qinghe this morning. She said they were a gift from Pei Yan. I did not care much at first, but now they were useful." Just when the situation became stiff, a servant ran in, stumbling and crawling. "Master, madam, the 9,000 years has arrived." As soon as the words fell, a tall figure appeared at the entrance of the hall. My father and mother quickly stood up to welcome him. Shin Qingqing turned pale with fear and quietly stepped back, not daring to breathe loudly. Pei Yan's eyes slowly swept across the room and finally landed on me. He walked toward me. In front of everyone, he very naturally held my hand. "Have you waited long?" I shook my head and let him hold my hand as he led me to the main seat and sat down without hesitation. Then he raised his eyes and looked at my father. "Lord Shin, my wife is the person I value most. If she suffers even a little bit of grievance here, I don't know what I might do." After saying this, his gaze slowly moved to Shin Qingqing. She was so frightened that she immediately knelt down on the ground. "Please forgive me. 9,000 years. I did not do it on purpose." I sat beside Pei Yan and watched this dramatic scene. There was only one thought in my heart. Marrying this man seems even better than I imagined. After leaving the Shin residence, I rode in the same carriage with Pei Yan. He leaned against the cushion, closing his eyes to rest. The atmosphere was a little quiet and strange. Just now at the Shin residence, he had really helped me gain face. Even though he probably did not truly treat me as someone important, but only protected his own dignity. But no matter what, I still owed him thanks. So I took the initiative to speak. Thank you for today." Pei Yan did not even open his eyes. Seeing how cold he was, I curled my lips and stopped trying to talk. After returning to the residence, Pei Yan went straight to the study, while I returned to our courtyard. Qinghe came forward to greet me. Looking at her, I suddenly remembered something. "Qinghe, are there any forbidden areas in the residence?" The reason I asked this was because when I sat on Pei Yan's lap on the wedding night, I seemed to feel something that should not exist. I must find out whether Pei Yan is really a eunuch. This is related to my future happiness. Qinghe was stunned for a moment, then replied, "Madam, without permission, no one is allowed to approach the chief's study and training room." My eyes lit up. There must be secrets. In the next few days, Pei Yan was very busy. He often left early and returned late. Sometimes he even stayed overnight in the palace. This suited me perfectly. I began my detective life. During the day, I used the excuse of getting familiar with the residence and walked around everywhere. The study was easy to find, but there were 4 expressionless guards at the door. Not even a fly could get in, so I changed my target to the training room. It was located in a remote northwest corner of the residence, and there was no one guarding it. I found a chance and quietly went there. To my surprise, the door of the training room was only slightly closed. I gently pushed it open a little and looked inside. The room was very empty. There were weapon racks by the wall, and in the corner there was a large wooden tub for bathing with medicine. I was just about to go inside to take a closer look when I suddenly heard footsteps coming closer. My heart jumped. I quickly hid behind a nearby tree. The person who came was Pei Yan. There was a thin layer of sweat on his forehead. Clearly he had just come back. He walked straight into the training room. Soon, I heard the sound of water. He was bathing. My heart immediately started beating fast. Should I take a look? This thought appeared and quickly grew stronger. Reason told me this was very dangerous. If I was discovered, the result would be terrible. But my curiosity kept scratching at my heart like a little cat. After struggling for a long time, curiosity finally won. I took a deep breath, bent down, and quietly moved back to the door. I carefully pushed it open a little more. Through the small gap, I saw Pei Yan with his back facing me. His whole body was in the tub, only showing his wide back. His back was full of crisscrossing scars, knife wounds, sword wounds, whip marks. It was hard to imagine what he had gone through. I looked in a daze. At that moment, the man in the tub suddenly moved. He seemed to feel hot and directly stood up. At this moment, I immediately widened my eyes. Even though the rising steam blurred my view, I saw it clearly. The rumors were false. Pei Yan was not a eunuch at all. I felt like I was struck by lightning. I subconsciously took a step back, but accidentally stepped on a branch. Crack. The next second, Pei Yan's cold voice sounded. Who's there? I was so scared that my soul almost left my body. I turned around and ran back to my room as fast as I could, then shut the door tightly. I tried to calm myself down. Pei Yan definitely knew it was me. His identity as a fake eunuch is deceiving the emperor, which is a crime that can destroy 9 generations of a family. Now that I had seen it, to keep the secret, he would definitely kill me. So I cannot just wait to die. I must find a way to save myself. But the whole capital is his territory. There is nowhere for me to escape. Just when I was panicking and didn't know what to do, bang, the door was kicked open. Pei Yan stood at the doorway with a dark expression. What did you see? As expected, he still came. My brain started working quickly. If I admit it, dead. If I deny it, he won't believe me. In that very short moment, an idea flashed in my mind. I suddenly cried loudly and rushed forward, hugging his leg. Wah, you are so pitiful. I know everything. I saw everything. But don't worry, I will never tell anyone. Pei Yan clearly did not expect this reaction. His whole body froze. He lowered his head and looked at me, his eyes full of confusion. You know what? I raised my head, my eyes full of tears, looking at him with sympathy. Don't worry, I won't dislike you. You don't need to fake it for me. That's too tiring. The air became completely silent. Pei Yan's expression became very strange. There was shock, disbelief, amusement, and a bit of speechlessness. After a long time, he finally spoke through his teeth. You think I found someone to make a fake one? He took a deep breath, suddenly grabbed me from the ground, dragged me into the inner room, and threw me onto the bed. Is it real or fake? You can check it yourself. As soon as he finished speaking, he lowered his head and kissed my lips hard. This kiss was full of control and punishment, not giving me even a little chance to breathe. What's worse, I clearly felt it. This man was completely real in every way. This means my perfect life, my peaceful future, is completely over. I started blinking desperately in panic. Pei Yan looked at my terrified eyes, and the fire in his eyes slowly calmed down. He let go of me and turned over, moving away from me. His voice returned to its usual cold tone. My matter, do not mention it to anyone, including your ridiculous thoughts just now. I nodded like crazy. Only then did he leave, leaving me alone lying on the bed, my mind in chaos. Pei Yan is not a eunuch. He can make me fulfill the duty of a wife at any time, but when I think of childbirth, I feel fear all over my body. No, I must find a way. A bold idea slowly formed in my mind. Since I cannot stop the source, then I will stop the result. I need a safe and reliable formula to prevent pregnancy. So I started using the excuse of adjusting my body and frequently went to medicine shops in the capital. To avoid attention, I only chose small, remote shops. I used small tricks to get the prescription, then went to different shops to buy the herbs and parts. My days passed in tension and excitement, secretly drinking the medicine every day. Soon, it was the Mid-Autumn Festival. The palace held a banquet, and Pei Yan and I were naturally invited. Before leaving, Pei Yan surprisingly wore a light moon-white robe. He looked less cold than usual, and more elegant. I looked at him a few more times and couldn't help but praise him. Husband, you look very good today. He seemed to pause for a moment, then quickly turned around. The corner of his mouth slightly lifted without control. Too many words. Let's go. But the way he walked with the same hand and foot showed that he was not calm inside. The banquet was held in the imperial garden. Many officials and nobles were drinking and talking. Everything looked peaceful and lively. I didn't know many people, and I didn't want to talk politely with those noble ladies, so I just lowered my head and ate the desserts in front of me. While I was eating happily, a strange and mocking voice sounded beside me. Oh, isn't this the wife of the 9,000 years? Why are you sitting here alone? Well, no wonder. Someone from a small family like you really can't be shown in public. I raised my head and saw a young concubine dressed in luxurious clothes standing in front of me. She was the empress's niece, the emperor's most favored consort Shu, and also Shen Qingqing's supporter. I stood up and gave a polite bow. I didn't want to respond to such low-level mocking. Seeing that I didn't react, consort Shu felt bored and turned her words toward Pei Yan. Speaking of it, I really envy Madame Shen. The 9,000 years is powerful and very considerate. Unlike us, we still have to serve the emperor. She especially emphasized the words very considerate. The meaning of her words was clear. The noble ladies around showed knowing smiles. My hand slowly tightened on my lap. I could ignore how others looked at me, but I could not allow them to insult Pei Yan in front of me. After all, in others' eyes, he is my husband. I took a deep breath, raised my head, and showed a gentle smile. Your ladyship is right. My husband is indeed very considerate and devoted. I stood up and walked to Pei Yan's side, naturally pouring him a cup of wine. My voice was not loud, but it was enough for people nearby to hear. Consort Shu's face became a bit ugly. Everyone knows the emperor's love does not last long. At this moment, a eunuch quickly walked to the emperor and whispered something. The emperor's expression changed slightly. Then his gaze fell on me. Shen, the emperor suddenly spoke. My heart jumped, and I quickly knelt down. I heard that on the day you returned home, you publicly showed off that the 9,000 years gave you a house in the South City and farmland outside the city. My heart sank. Showing off wealth is a big taboo, especially in front of the emperor. Sure enough, the emperor's voice became cold. Shen, do you know your crime? I lay on the ground, and cold sweat instantly covered my back. I knew I had been set up. Shen Qingqing and consort Shu had worked together to trap me. They wanted to use what happened that day to accuse me in front of the emperor of being arrogant and abusing power, and I had stepped right into it. If I admit guilt, Pei Yan loses face. If I deny it, it becomes deceiving the emperor. I was stuck in a difficult situation. At this moment, a hand helped me up. It was Pei Yan. He stood behind me and slightly bowed to the emperor. Your Majesty, my wife is young and ignorant. If she has offended anyone, please punish me instead. instead. The emperor looked at Pei Yan, his eyes unclear. Oh, the 9,000 years wants to take the punishment for your wife? I would not dare. My wife is young, and it is her first time receiving such heavy rewards. It is natural that she became a bit proud and said inappropriate words. After we return, I will teach her properly. His words were very smooth. He admitted my mistake but explained it as youth and human nature, making a big issue small. At this moment, the whole garden became silent. Everyone was watching. After a while, the emperor smiled. Forget it. The 9,000 years works hard for the country. Giving some rewards is reasonable. Shen, get up. I let out a breath and stood up. I secretly looked at Pei Yan. He helped me again, but I felt that he was becoming harder and harder to understand. After the banquet ended, we returned in the carriage. Inside, it was still quiet. I wanted to speak several times but didn't know what to say. Until near the residence, he suddenly spoke. In the future, stay away from Consort Shu. Today, she was targeting me. I was stunned. Only then did I realize I had almost become a pawn in power struggles. I wanted to ask why, but he still gave the same answer. What you shouldn't ask, don't ask. Even if you know, what can you do? His words carried clear contempt. I was speechless. He was right. I am just a weak woman. My family is useless. In front of these powerful people, I am no different from an ant. A feeling of powerlessness rose in my heart. At the same time, the carriage stopped at the residence. I got down first, without saying anything, and returned to the room. I sat in front of the dressing table and removed the hairpins from my hair by myself. Pei Yan stood behind me, quietly watching me through the mirror. Angry? I did not respond. He walked over, took a hairpin from my hand, and helped me remove it from my hair. His movements were very gentle. Consort Shu's father is the Minister of Revenue. Some days ago, I investigated and punished a corrupt official from the Ministry of Revenue. He was her father's student, but I am not stupid. After what he said in the carriage, I already understood. Rather than saying he punished corruption, it is more like he removed people who blocked his path. What he did is not wrong, but I still felt a bit cold, because the man I married lives in a world full of blood and schemes, and I have already been pulled into it. He seemed to see through my thoughts. He suddenly reached out and held my chin, forcing me to look at him. Shen Yunshu, from the day you married me, you have no way to go back. Either behave well as the wife of the 9,000 years, and I will give you a life of wealth and honor, or take your little thoughts and go die. After speaking, he took out a paper packet from his chest and threw it on the ground. The packet opened. Inside were clearly the medicine leftovers I had just prepared that morning. My heart dropped heavily. When did he find out? Or has he been watching me all this time? Shen Yunshu, I will give you one last chance. Do you want to stay, or do you want to leave? Of course I want to live, but I also truly do not want to have children. I am afraid of pain. I am afraid of death. When my mother gave birth to my younger brother, she almost died. This is my true thought. It is also my only small wish. Pei Yan looked at me and did not speak. His eyes were very complicated. There was anger. There was coldness, because my goal was to not get pregnant with his child. To him, this is a kind of betrayal and humiliation, especially since he is a normal man. But in the end, he only gave an order. Stop taking the medicine. Starting tomorrow, I will have the residence doctor prepare medicine to adjust your body. Not killing me is a good thing, but making me adjust my body, is it to prepare me to have children for him? Thinking of this, I almost screamed. I don't want to have children. When I married you, everyone said you were a eunuch. I have no responsibility to give birth for you. Pa. A clear slap sound echoed in the room. My face was hit to one side, burning with pain. Pei Yan looked at his slightly red palm. He seemed to be stunned for a moment. A trace of regret flashed in his eyes, but it was quickly replaced by coldness. Before leaving, he ordered people to surround the courtyard. Without his permission, I was not allowed to step out even one step. The door was shut heavily. I fell onto the cold ground. My last hope was completely broken. In the days that followed, I was completely locked inside this small courtyard. Qinghe was also taken away and replaced by two expressionless old women. Every day, the residence doctor would bring a bowl of black medicine on time. That medicine was even more bitter than the pregnancy prevention medicine I drank before. I did not want to drink it, but the old women would hold my mouth and force it down my throat. Pei Yan never appeared again. It was like he had completely forgotten about me. My body became better day by day because of the medicine, but my heart sank lower and lower. I was like a bird locked in a cage. I lost all freedom and hope. I did not know when this kind of life would end. I even started to miss that Pei Yan who was dangerous but would talk to me and stand up for me. Not this cold and heartless man who treated me like a tool to give birth. That night, I had a dream. In the dream, I returned to the Shen family. I was still that carefree second young lady who only wanted to live easily. The imperial order never came. I did not marry Pei Yan. My father found me a marriage. We got married and had children. I lay on the bed giving birth, screaming loudly, feeling like my body was being torn apart. I suddenly woke up from the dream. I breathed heavily. At that moment, I smelled a familiar cold dragon saliva incense scent. I slowly turned my head. I saw Pei Yan standing by the bed. Afraid of children? His voice was softer than usual. I nodded. He was silent. After a long time, he spoke again. I promise you, you don't have to have children for now. A willing wife is better than a resentful woman who wants to die. His words were like a small stone thrown into my dead, quiet heart. I looked at him in disbelief, trying to find any sign of lying on his face, but he hid it too well. I could not see anything, but what made me even happier was, the next day, the guards at the courtyard door were gone. The two old women who watched me were also gone. Qinghe returned. It was like everything had passed. Pei Yan was still very busy, but sometimes he would come back to the courtyard. We ate together. There were not many words between us, but the atmosphere was no longer as tense as before. He would pick food for me. He would ask what I did during the day, just like an ordinary married couple. This kind of calm life made me slowly get used to it. I even began to feel that this kind of life was not bad. Until that day, Pei Yan came back unusually early, and he brought back a man covered in blood. He placed that man in a hidden room next to our courtyard. Then he came to find me. Do you know how to treat wounds? His expression was more serious than ever before. I was stunned for a moment, then nodded. My mother was often sick, so since I was young, I followed doctors and learned some basic skills like stopping bleeding and bandaging. I followed him into the hidden room. When I clearly saw the man, I immediately took a sharp breath. His injuries were too serious. There was a deep wound on his chest, so deep that the bone could almost be seen. I was not sure if I could save him, but since he was important to Pei Yan, I was willing to try my best. I took the medicine box that Pei Yan handed to me and began to treat him, cleaning the wound, applying medicine, bandaging. I was so busy that I was covered in sweat. When I finished, it was almost dawn. The man's breathing also became much more stable. Only then did I dare to relax a little and ask, "Who is he?" "What you shouldn't ask, don't ask." Again, the same answer. But this time, I did not feel angry. I just looked at him and said softly, "Pei Yan, what exactly do you want to do?" Investigating corrupt officials, checking his people, making connections with generals, and now the seriously injured man. All these things show that he must be planning something big. Pei Yan looked at me and was silent for a long time. Just when I thought he would not answer, he suddenly spoke. "Shin Yunshu, if I tell you that what I want to do is change the dynasty, what would you do?" His voice was very light, but it was like thunder exploding in my ears. My lips trembled, and I could not say a single word. Pei Yan seemed to expect this. He smiled bitterly and was about to turn away, but I suddenly called him. I looked straight into his eyes and said word by word, "If you want to become emperor, then I will be your empress." Pei Yan's body suddenly shook. In his eyes, which were usually calm like deep water, strong waves suddenly appeared. I did not know why I said those words. Maybe I was touched by the loneliness in his eyes. Or maybe, during these months together, my heart had already slowly leaned toward him without me knowing. Pei Yan looked at me for a very, very long time. Then, he smiled, a real smile from his heart. He walked toward me and tightly pulled me into his arms. His voice trembled slightly as he said, "Yunshu, in this life, I will never let you down." I buried my face in his chest, feeling his strong heartbeat. And no matter if the road ahead is full of danger or deep darkness. At this moment, I was no longer afraid. The injured man slowly recovered under my care. His name was Lin Feng. He was one of Pei Yan's most trusted people. This time, he was injured because he went to intercept a secret letter and fell into an ambush. That secret letter was extremely important. It was related to whether Pei Yan's entire plan would succeed or fail. Although they got the letter, their people were exposed. A huge crisis was quietly approaching. Pei Yan became even busier. Every day, he stayed in the study with Lin Feng and others, discussing things until late at night. I could not help much. I could only take care of small things for them. One night, I brought them some late-night food. The study door was not fully closed. I heard Lin Feng's anxious voice inside. "Chief, our people found that General Han is acting strangely. He has been getting very close to the crown prince recently. We must act quickly." General Han controlled the military power of the capital. He had always been someone Pei Yan wanted to win over. If he sided with the crown prince, it would be a deadly blow to Pei Yan. But Pei Yan rejected the suggestion. He even ordered everyone to stay hidden. The situation became more and more tense. I pushed the door open and went in. The people inside quickly greeted me. I nodded and put the food on the table. "Husband, eat something first." Pei Yan responded, but he had no intention of eating. I knew he was under great pressure. After Lin Feng and the others left, I walked to his side. He naturally pulled me to sit on his lap. "When everything is over, I will take you back to Jiangnan, okay? There are small bridges and flowing water there. A peaceful life you can never finish enjoying. Not like the capital, full of schemes and blood." I leaned in his arms, imagining the scene he described, and smiled as I agreed. But at this moment, the study door was suddenly pushed open hard. A guard rushed in, stumbling. "Young master, something bad happened. News from the palace. The emperor has died." Pei Yan and I were both stunned. How could the emperor die so suddenly? And the guard also said, "The crown prince held an imperial edict, saying the emperor passed the throne to him, and accused Pei Yan of plotting rebellion." Now General Han had already surrounded our residence with troops. Everything happened too fast. I looked at Pei Yan. There was no panic on his face, not even a little surprise. He just quietly listened. Then he stood up, walked to the window, pushed it open, and looked outside. Outside were countless soldiers holding torches. He smiled. "Crown Prince, General Han, do you think you can win like this?" He turned around and looked at me. In his deep eyes, there was only gentleness. "Yunshu, are you afraid?" I did not say anything. I just walked to his side and held his hand. I let him lead me step by step to the door. Outside, flames filled the sky. General Han was wearing armor, pointing his sword at him from afar. "Pei Yan, you traitor, surrender now." Pei Yan looked at him, the smile on his lips becoming even more strange. He did not speak. He simply raised his right hand and lightly snapped his fingers. The next second, the ground under our feet suddenly started to shake strongly. General Han's horse was the first to panic, raising its front legs and almost throwing him off. The soldiers surrounding the residence also fell into chaos. Not only that, I saw a group of people dressed in black suddenly attack from behind the soldiers. They moved quickly, their moves sharp and deadly. Clearly, they were well-trained killers. "General Han, do you really think I would just wait here with no preparation for you to surround me?" Pei Yan's voice passed through the noisy battlefield, clearly reaching everyone's ears. "You and the Crown Prince's plan, I already knew it. Under this residence are earthquake-triggering mechanisms, and the reinforcements behind you have probably already become mine." When General Han heard this, his face changed greatly. He turned to look behind him at the chaos, his eyes full of shock. Only then did he realize palace. From the very beginning, he had fallen into Pei Yan's trap. The so-called siege was actually leading him and his army into a prepared trap. General Han shouted loudly, waving his sword and trying to command the soldiers to fight back. But the formation was already broken. They could no longer fight properly. Winning was only a matter of time. Pei Yan held my hand and turned back into the residence. We walked toward a hidden passage deep inside. The passage was narrow but dry, clearly maintained for a long time. After walking for about the time of one stick of incense, the end suddenly opened up. It was a hidden courtyard. Several carriages were waiting there, with drivers already prepared. Pei Yan told me this was a shortcut to the palace. The crown prince would definitely place heavy guards in the palace, but this passage could bring him directly into the inner palace. Before leaving, he asked me again, "Are you afraid?" I did not answer. I just stood on my toes and gently kissed his cheek. Pei Yan smiled. Then he turned and jumped onto a carriage. Lin Feng and the others followed. As the carriage left, I stood where I was, watching the direction they went. In my heart, I prayed silently. I knew this battle was not only about Pei Yan's life, it was also about our future. Inside the palace, the fighting was even more intense. Although the crown prince had many soldiers, he underestimated Pei Yan's hidden power in the palace. Those people who had been hidden for many years suddenly attacked at Pei Yan's signal. They rushed straight toward the crown prince in the main hall. I sat in the hidden courtyard room, listening to the distant sounds of fighting. Even though I was worried, my heart was strangely calm, because I knew Pei Yan would win. After an unknown amount of time, the fighting slowly stopped. The sky began to brighten. Morning light came through the window. Footsteps sounded outside. I immediately stood up, walked quickly to the door, and threw myself into Pei Yan's arms. Everything was over. The crown prince was defeated and captured. General Han died in battle. Those officials who supported the crown prince were either removed or quickly changed sides. In one night, the power in the capital completely changed. 3 days later, Pei Yan used the name of removing evil ministers to place a young prince on the throne. He himself became regent, controlling the government. And me, I was no longer the Shinyunshu who only wanted to avoid having children. I began to manage the household. I helped him handle small matters. Sometimes, when he had difficulties in government matters, I gave him ideas from my own view. Pei Yan kept his promise. He never forced me to have children. He even personally found the best doctors to ask for safe ways to avoid pregnancy. One night, we sat in the courtyard, enjoying the moon. I held a cup of wine and smiled as I asked him, "Do you remember when you asked me why I was willing to marry you?" "I remember. You said the imperial order cannot be disobeyed. Later I found out, you just thought marrying a eunuch meant you didn't have to have children." He paused. His eyes were full of gentleness. "Sorry, I should not have forced you before. It's all in the past. And, if it's you, it doesn't seem so scary anymore." I looked into his deep eyes. Inside them was the moonlight, and also my reflection. For the first time, I was no longer afraid of the future.